muscles. We're going to work with hands. We're going to work with scarves and coordination. And if we have time, we'll throw in a little bit of balance at the end. So, you know, if you have two scarves, and any of the scarf movements, if the scarves get too much, you can do it without the scarves. And then the squish ball. And again, squish ball, I could do it without the ball too. The ball just gives us some extra resistance. So we'll be using both of those. And a water bottle, as always. All right, so let's start with a little breath work. And probably want to come more to the edge of your chair so that you're sitting up nice and tall and not kind of slouching back. So sitting up nice and tall. Let's take a nice inhale up. And then exhale down. Good. One more inhale up. And exhale down. And anytime I do those inhales and exhales, I'm really opening my hands up, just really scooping up all, you know, good energy, and then pushing it away, anything bad. Then let's go ahead and let's interlace our fingers in front, and I'm going to reverse those hands and turn them out. I'm going to tuck my navel in and kind of round my back and tuck my chin into my chest. Okay, so I'm going to kind of round that back a little bit. And then I'm going to inhale up, nice long spine. So get the hands up. You may not be able to see in the video, but get them up way over your head. And then exhale. Good, and then inhale up. And exhale down. Go ahead and just rest those hands on your thighs and let's roll those shoulders out. Good. Now, so rolling the shoulders, you can bring them up and you can bring them down. Bring them up, bring them down. Maybe you can kind of tuck your shoulders in and kind of concave your chest because sometimes the shoulders are really stiff. And you can open up and kind of lift that sternum. So sometimes moving your sternum back and forth will help the shoulders to move a little bit. Okay, the same idea as if you use the elbows. Bring the elbows in and bring the elbows out, and hopefully automatically they will help the shoulders to open up. When our shoulders get really tight, it's kind of hard to loosen them up, so you have to kind of let other parts of the body help to open them up. Okay, and in and out. Perfect. Now I want to work with the hands on your thighs a little bit. Okay, we're going to start by just taking your hands straight down and just kind of pushing one finger at a time. So I'm just pushing one finger in, pushing in. I'm giving just a little weight bearing on each finger. Pushing in on the fingertips. And push, and on the thumb also, push. Okay? You can do both hands at the same time, or you can do one at a time. But I'm pushing one finger at a time, all the way down. Good. Now I'm going to go into kind of that claw position that we've talked about, and I'm going to push the knuckles down. And so I might just bring my shoulders up a little bit and push into the knuckles. So I want to put some little weight bearing into that knuckle, and also it helps to kind of close those knuckles up a little bit, okay? So pushing into them, I'm leaning into them, not just pushing them down there, I'm leaning in and giving it a little bit of weight. Good. Pushing in. All right, and then I'm going to take my fists and I'm going to put the top part of the knuckles there, kind of like I'm a gorilla in a walking one, okay? So I'm going to push into the top of that and all the way down. Perfect. And then I'm going to push into the hands. Okay, so I really want to get into the palms of that hands, into the wrist, and I'm pushing forward. And we've used this in the power move too, where we lean forward here, and then we open up here. And open the chest, open the hands. Okay, so I'm going from a really open position to a closed position, tucking the chin into my chest. And then a nice open position, really opening up, and then into that, hands pushing. Great. Okay, so now we're going to sing a song, and then we'll get moving on with the rest of our stuff. So the song for today is Old MacDonald, and it really has a lot of good opening and closing of the mouth, okay, with the E-I-E-I-O. I can sit there and sing and get all exaggerated. My husband says he can hear me singing in the other room. Okay, and then today we'll use the pig and we'll use the duck. So we'll have that oink and that quack. All right, so Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, nice round mouth there, and on his farm he had a pig, E-I-E-I-O, with an oink oink here and an oink oink there, here a oink, there a oink, everywhere a oink oink. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on this farm he had a duck, E-I-E-I-O, with a quack quack here and a quack quack there, here a quack, there a quack, everywhere a quack quack. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And so you can play around with different animals, like a cat with the meow and the dog with the woof woof. So you can scrooge around your house and sing Old MacDonald all the time. But it'll be really good for the muscles of the mouth. So let's go ahead and let's have it, just make a nice big ah, ooh. So that big scared face, ah, and ooh, ah, ooh, good. And then go ahead and make some tongue cluckers. So. Perfect. Steve, can you let the cat out? All right, the cat's over there wanting out. He was really excited that I had the scarves out. He wanted to play with the scarves with me, but I told him no, he could not. All right, so now we're going to grab the scarves. And we'll finish up with the hands a little bit more later. Okay, so getting the scarves. And I kind of like the long scarves, but you can use shorter scarves if you want. And you can do these motions without scarves too. So we're going to start by swinging both arms. And if you're a little more out in your chair, you have a little more space. Otherwise, it's going to kind of come here. But whatever space you have. And what the theory kind of behind the scarves is it kind of extends your arms and it just makes you be able to move a little bit more as you're bringing your arms up to kind of let the scarf come flowing down. So let's bring the arms up and both arms up together, up and down, and up and down. Good. Up. And I like to kind of follow whatever I'm doing. I like to follow with my eyes because it kind of makes the motion a little easier. And then let's take that right hand and that left hand and that right hand and left. Just letting those shoulders kind of open up. Good. Bam. Bam. Good. Now I'm going to kind of punch forward, take it up and down. Punch forward, so kind of a little forceful, up and down. Punch forward, up and down. Punch forward, up and down. One more time. Punch forward, up and down. Punch forward, up and down. Good. Now I'm going to work the shoulders and I'm going to kind of take it out and I'm going to cross it over. Take it out, cross it over. Take it out, cross it over. Take it out and cross it over. Good. I'm going to take the other side, take it out and cross. And I'm kind of leaning a little bit with it. Take it out, so I'm getting a little rotation of the torso there. Take it out, cross it over. Take it out, cross it over. Good. Take it out and cross it over. All right? So now to kind of work the core and work our spine, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to cross them both over. Take it out and cross them both over. So see how I'm kind of rounding, concaving that body a little bit. I could bring the chin into my chest a little more. And cross and out and cross and out. Good. Cross it over and out. Wonderful. All right, so now I'm going to add the legs with it, so we get a little coordination here. So let's start with just the legs first. So I'm going to take a heel extension, heel extension, heel extension, okay? Now, I'm gonna take opposite arm, and then heel extensions, and take it up. So we're working at coordination a little bit. Up, and up, and up. Nice. And up, up, up. Good. All right. And up. Last one here. Up and down. Good. Now we can do the same thing with our knees. So I can do a knee lift. I'm going to take a little more energy. So lift the knee and down. Knee and down. Get that arm going. Opposite arm. And up, up, and up, and up. Good. And up. Now all of this, the scarf just kind of, like I said, it makes for an extension of your body. And if it gets too much, you can just do the opposite arm, okay? And then take those and let's see if we can kind of swing them to the back. So we're working those triceps, pushing back, pushing back, pushing back. Good. Pushing back. All right. Good. Now I'm going to take them out, and then I'm really going to squish it into my body. And then I'm going to take them out and squish in. Round it back. Open it up big and squish it in. And open it up big and squish it in. So a lot of what we do is the same. It's opening and closing the body. And we've talked a lot about a healthy muscle, for instance, is when I can have my fist tight here in a contraction, and I can have my hand and my arm in full extension when it's open, okay? So getting that full extension, same with the leg, okay? So bringing the knee in and being able to extend it all the way long. Bringing it in, as far as you can and all the way long. So all of our muscles, we want them to be able to reach to their full extensions. All right, so I'm gonna put one of these away. And this is kind of, hopefully open the wrist up a little bit. Now our tendency might be, we're gonna stir the pot. Our tendency might be just to keep the wrist nice and solid, and we're doing more here in the shoulder. And that will help the shoulder, and also you notice my torso is kind of doing a little rotation here. But what I want is to see if we can get the wrist going, like we're stirring the pot. So you see the difference where my wrist is just turning? Okay, so you stir the pot, and you're getting all the ingredients, and then maybe you stir the pot bigger, and you don't worry about the wrist as much, and you get more torso. Okay, and then maybe back the other way, and see, as much as possible, can you get the wrist to do some of that stirring? Just the wrist. And it might only be just a little bit, but whatever you can, okay? And then switch to the other side, same thing. We're making 2 pots of soup today. Chili and chicken tortilla soup. I love chicken tortilla soup. Okay, so I'm doing it from the wrist, and take it back the other way, turning from the wrist. Okay, and then maybe stirring and getting the whole body stirring that pot all the way around. Good. Stir and stir, and then take it back the other way and stir and stir. Excellent. All right, so now I'm going to put those away, and I'm going to grab a sip of water, and then we're going to stand up, and we're going to do a little bit of balance. So I'm going to take this back a little bit. Hopefully, I want to make sure that's not chopping my head off. I think that'll be okay. I guess you can tell me later if you saw my head or not. Okay, so we're going to do some balance. You have your walker or counter or whatever. And let's get the switching of the weight. Okay, so switch the weights over here now on my right side. Come to center. It's balance. Take it to the side. Okay, so center. So this is a really important breathing exercise to practice, and changing of weight. The weight centered. 90% here, just a little bit here. Good. So now coming back to center, actually let's leave it out here. I'm gonna leave my weight there, I'm gonna tap my toe in, okay? And you get, that might be enough balance right there, or maybe you can lift that leg up. Make sure you're not sitting into that hip, so nice and tall. Maybe you can have one hand off of the counter or your chair. Maybe you can take both off for a second. Maybe 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back down, okay? And then maybe just kind of switch back and forth a little bit, from one side to the other. Good, switching the weight here. Again, not into the hip. Be it nice and tall, bring that toe in, lift it up, find that balance. Shoulders are back, so we're nice and tall. Okay, so I got one hand off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Maybe I can bring it back up and try both hands. And maybe it's just for a second off of whatever I'm holding on to. And you'll feel your feet kind of adjusting a little bit with the earth. Good. And then bring it back down. Okay, so then next, we want to kind of play around with our squats a little bit. Okay, so remember in the squat, the knee right over the ankle, and so I'm pushing my hips back. Now I can push it here, maybe I can push it a little further, whatever works for you. Okay, pushing back. I really want to avoid doing that. Okay, all the weight's going into my knees, and I do not want that. I want it to go into my hips, and I want to be back on my heels as I come back, because that's the way we get out of the chair. Okay, and then rising back up. So I really want my thighs, my glutes to be nice and strong. So anytime you're at the counter, you're brushing your teeth, anything, you can stop and as they say in movies, stop and drop. But you can stop and do, 8 to 10 squats. And taking it back. Okay, then a little variation to that, which is kind of hard sometimes. I'm going to lift one heel, and then I'm bending back with just one leg. Okay, so I'm doing a one-legged, I don't know if you can see, but just a one-legged squat. So this one doesn't have that much weight on it, and I'm putting most of the weight on the leg here. And back, and back. Good. And push it back. All right. So the first squat with both, this is our military squat. These are our one-legged squats. Okay, and then when you do a plie squat, legs are out just a little bit, and I want my knees to go over the toes, and I want the weight to go into my tailbone. I want to come straight down and come back up. I want to come straight down and come back up. So seeing sideways, like I'm going down a wall, kind of right down the wall and come up. So this is really great for our posture. Really great for the posture. Okay, and up. Do a handful here. Now all of these ideas that I'm giving you here, you can break them down into 5-minute segments. I know my mom's telling me that she takes the exercise routine that I gave her, and she does 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. If that's how you need to do it, that's fine. All right, and come back to center. And let's finish with one final one, and that's our point, reach, and lift. Okay. So just really emphasizing this, I want you have to switch your weight, and then you point to the side, and I get that nice long reach, okay? I'm like holding onto my walker here. Now, when I go up to lift that leg, usually I bend the other knee a little bit, and then lift and extend. And then I come back to center. And then you take it out, you get a nice tap, get that reach, and when I'm reaching, I got my hands nice, and that shoulder's opening, so I'm getting a really big expansion, and then I lift up and come back. Okay, so you can break it down into that tap, that reach, and that lift. Okay, that tap, that reach, and lift. Or maybe you can go into all of that at the same time. So reach out and lift. And come back, reach out and lift. Perfect. Let's do that one more time each side. Reach out and lift. And reach reach out and lift. Great. Now sometimes after I've done a little balance like that, it feels good to kind of just come forward a little bit. So when we're getting any back bend stuff, you want to get a little bit of forward bend. Okay? And then the other thing you might think about is getting a little side to side with the hips. Okay, so that we're getting that kind of opening of the hips. And remember when we do that side to side hips, I bend one leg and then the other. Okay? Side to side and bend. And then if you feel comfortable enough, then you can take it to the front, to the side, to the back, to the side, to the front, to the side, to the back, to the side. And then you can reverse it. Back, side, and then maybe you can get it to be more of a flow. Call that cleaning the inside of the barrel. Good. All right, so now we're going to come back to our chair, and maybe you can grab a sip of water on the way. One thing that's kind of nice about doing a YouTube is that any time you can just kind of, oops, shut her off, go to the bathroom, grab your sip of water, come back 5 minutes later. Whereas when you're taking a live class, I just keep going, even if you're done. All right, so let's just finish up with some hands. And the squish ball is great. Have it sitting there all the time. And if you're bored, just give it some few squeezes. We depend so much on our hands to be able to hold on to things and pick up things and do your mail and all that stuff. And so we want to keep as much dexterity and movement in our hands as possible. So the squeezing, and then how I always talk about kind of moving it with your fingers a little bit, and squeezing, and move it with the fingers a little bit, and squeeze, okay? And just like in our last little video, I talked about, one finger at a time coming across. Do the same thing here. So squeeze. And the thing about having a resistance ball that makes it different than me just doing this, okay, which is great too, okay? Especially because when I do this, I can open my hands real big in between. But with squish ball, I have some resistance that I'm dealing with, and that strengthens all the muscles, actually all the way up the arm and into the pecs. Okay, and then, so I'll just show you ball versus regular hand, okay? So we did the alligator hand in the last video, and same thing here. Our tendency sometimes is to want to round our hands and push everything in. What I want is that straight hand. So push and push, push and push, good. All right, we can take that ball and put it on our thigh. We can take all of our fingertips and our thumb together and push down into that ball. Okay, it's kind of like when we were doing all the fingertip stuff at the beginning of this video. It's just strengthening those hands. Okay, and I can take my thumb individually and push my thumb into it. And I can take the heel, the eminence of my hand there, and kind of push onto that. If there's any arthritis pain or stiffness, a lot of it's right there. And so you want to kind of work that area. And you could kind of roll, which gives you a little thigh massage too. Okay? So the other hand, just to kind of demonstrate, so I can squeeze, move, move the fingers in between, squeeze, squeeze, okay? I can do one finger at a time, boom, 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 okay? So it's a little, two different things. This one I'm working from flexion, so I want my flexion, and then when I open up the fingers, I want the extension, okay? So flexion, extension, okay? Here I'm working a little bit more on strength, just getting some strength into that, okay? So alligator hand, boom, 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 push, 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 keeping those fingers nice and long. Get that push into there, good. I can take it down to my thigh. I can use the fingertips together and push into that. And I use the other hand just for balance. Push and push. And if you really, it's not just putting the fingers there and doing this, okay? It's leaning into it and getting that weight bearing. And for osteopenia, osteoporosis, that keeps your bones strong, okay? So get some weight bearing in there. Take the thumb, push the thumb into there, push. Take the palm of the hand and push and push. Good. I can roll And then the two exercises I use with both hands, the first one is interlacing the hands, okay? And use the heels of your hand and squish that ball together, okay? And then you can bring it in and then push and bring it in and push. Good. And then you can take it like you're clapping hands, okay? So like this kind of deal. And I'm pushing the heels of my hand, push it down as much as I can, and then open it big and wide and switch. Open it big and wide and switch. I think we're getting a little long here. Yeah. Okay, and push. And push. Perfect. And push. All right. So that gives you some things to do with that ball, and you can get creative with it and do just anything you want. But think about the idea of flexion is here, this is all this, and then extension is opening everything back and up and all that nice extension part. All right, so let's take a couple breaths. Let's bring those hands up gently. Bring them back to center and just feel that little ball of energy here. And let's inhale and expand. And exhale, close in. So even in our Tai Chi, we're opening and closing. Good, and close. Inhale. And close. All right, now taking one hand on the top, and we're going to do cycle of the moon. And now cycle of the moon, I'm going to take one leg, I'm going to take it out to the side, and I'm going to kind of open it up in an L position here. Okay, so cycle of the moon, I'm going to come out over that knee, and I'm going to come back. And I'm going to come back out over that knee, and back. Now I might even be able to circle, get a little rotational, and come back. Okay, take it out. And we talked about if things start feeling a little tense and stop for a moment, because it should feel good, should feel relaxing. Okay, so let the energy just kind of take you, take it out and back. Good. Bring it back to center. So basically I'm doing a seated L step. You could also do this standing. But so now the opposite hand's on top. Okay? So we're bringing that moon out and we flip it and we come back. Flip it all the way out. Come back to center. So we're not going from side to side like we do just embracing the moon. This is cycle of the moon. The cycle of the moon goes from one side to the other. And bring it across. Forward, inhale up, exhale down, let the hands just float. Good. Bring those shoulders to the ears. Give yourself a nice hug. Congratulate yourself for taking the time to do this little video today.